Hello again, everyone. I'm in a ridiculously special situation here with one of my great heroes, who he probably didn't know he was my hero, but my own Zen practice has been influenced by his teaching since the very, very beginning, and it's my deep pleasure and honor to introduce Noelke Muho Roshi.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Muho-san, we met a few days ago. You should watch his videos. I've mentioned him before, and I kind of like the bicycles going by.
Yeah, it's very authentic.
Yeah. Sometimes they say when you meet your heroes, you're disappointed, or you get starstruck on the other side, like oh, and I'm quite starstruck. I thought you were more scary than you actually are.
I probably was more scary at Antaiji, and I kind of mellowed, how do you say it so in English?
Mellowed out?
Yeah, became more round around the corners after retiring.
You still look pretty straight up and down to me, but yeah. That's refreshing, a delightful thing.
You should have come and see me at Antaiji 10 years ago or so.
Yeah. In Zen, we value our lineage profoundly.
Yes.
Yours is connected to maybe one of the greatest Zen teachers in our living history, Sawaki Kodo Roshi. And he did something that I really admire in his time. He somehow or another managed to get a lot of people to participate in Zen to varying degrees, like the sewing parties, Hukudenkai.
Yes.
And like all over Japan, people made thousands of Buddhist robes.
Yes.
For basically at him saying, let's do this. And he probably inspired untold numbers of people to do Zazen, lay people and monks. And what I'd like to ask you is what you think about Sawaki Kodo Roshi. How in the world did he get so many people to get inspired to participate in Zen in all the different ways that he got them to?
I mean, part of that is his character, his biography. Like I think he lost both of his parents very early and was adopted. But his adoptive father was a gambler, his adoptive mother was an ex-prostitute, and they misused him, and he ran away from home at 16, heading for Eiheiji. But he thought he could arrive at Eiheiji and then practice there, but at Eiheiji they used him as a slave almost. And they used him to do odd jobs, and at one point he was giving, I think, a free day, and all of his senpai, the real monks, they would go to the onsen and enjoy themselves with the geisha, but they said, you're still a kid, you can spend your day like you want. And he did zazen somewhere in a storage room. And an old lady that was cleaning the temple, and usually she would give him orders and boss him around. She opened the storage room and saw him sitting in zazen, and he just did it to kill time. And then almost like the Zenji-sama that you just mentioned, this old lady that would be his boss, she would bow to him very deeply, and that's the first time that he realized, wow, zazen is something is happening here, obviously. And he said, actually, for me, it didn't feel anything special, but when I saw the reaction on that lady's face, that's changed my life. So somehow he got into Zazen, and it changed his life, it saved his life. They say he was the last unsui, somebody who practiced like a training monk for his whole life.
He was called Homeless Kodo.
Homeless Kodo.
What is that in Japanese? Homeless Kodo.
Yadonashi Kodo.
Yadonashi Kodo. Okay.
Yadonashi Kodo. Although, of course, he was officially the abbot of Antaiji, he had a teaching job at Komazawa in Tokyo, but he was traveling most of the year around, giving talks at temples, giving sessions. He never lived under a bridge or so as other people did.
Just to clarify that point, he is like the last unsui. And why might traveling around be like the last unsui is unsui is cloud and water. Training monks wander and flow like clouds and water in search of the truth. So very much that kind of life.
Yes. So he has had this very strong personality. He influenced a lot of people. And in Europe, a guy called Deshimaru, who was for the most time a lay student who ordained shortly before Sawaki Roshi died, he transmitted that style to Europe, and also Deshimaru also was this charismatic person who taught people to sew their own kesas, who had a strong emphasis on the zazen posture. In America, today it would be people like Okumura Shohaku Roshi who transmit this style. I translated some of Sawaki's books in German, so I was influenced a lot, especially by the saying zazen is good for nothing, and only if you do it, this practice that's good for nothing, unless you do it, it will be really good for nothing in a way. So don't even aim at satori or becoming enlightened. You shouldn't try to become a special person. But I also see a certain danger there. I remember that in the beginning I was very much attracted to the kind of powerfulness and almost this kind of macho-like thing, the samurai kind of, also the posture when you look at him. He has this samurai posture, he has this samurai style, which can be very attractive, but it can be also a little danger that you get pulled only to this side, this very manly, macho side. And in a way, in Antaiji, it was fortunate that his student there, Uchiyama Roshi, was almost the opposite. Kind of this intellectual, very soft, not super manly, but more scholarly type. And in the beginning, it was a little hard for me. Like when I first came to Japan, Uchiyama Roshi was still alive. I met him a couple of times, although he had still retired from Antaiji. But I thought that Sawaki Roshi, whom I never met, was the more attractive guy, the kind of the powerful guy. And Uchiyama Roshi, he was nice, he would serve you tea. But over the years, I got to appreciate also Uchiyama's style. And I think he, in a way, he saved the lineage. Because otherwise it would have become this cosplay, samurai cosplay thing. So it's good for nothing, that's why we do it.
Yeah. Well, I might love to use the English kotawaza. Fake it till you make it. So even if you go in hard, do your best, see what happens. but okay, I hear you. Oh. So do you think that I mean, a Zen nerd like me, of course, is familiar with Uchiyama Roshi's teachings, what's left. I remember I was really impacted by a book.
Opening the Hand of Thought?
No. It might not have been Opening the Hand of Thought. The one I'm remembering, the text inside was like, there would be one line, like one sentence, bare bones from Sawaki Roshi, and then a small paragraph from Uchiyama Roshi, and then like a page by
Okumura Roshi. Yeah.
Talking about the same thing, but
the teaching of homeless Kodo, I think it's called.
Teaching of homeless Kodo.
I remember when I first came to Japan, it was without the Okumura Roshi part. It was only Sawaki Roshi and Uchiyama, and I first had the impression that Sawaki Roshi really hits the nail on the head. But then Uchiyama, well, you don't really need to explain it once more, we got the point. But sometimes it can be good to kind of also connect the dots there. So what I just told you, that in the beginning I was more attracted to Sawaki Roshi than to Uchiyama Roshi. It also has to do a little bit with this book, but now I'm starting to appreciate also this extra explanation, or to kind of, how do you say, polish the details.
So that leads me to another interesting theme, like you know the word pedagogy?
pedagogy,
there's a
like
funny,
teaching, or
it's how to teach kind of.
how to teach. Yeah.
It's funny. There's a funny video with Brad Warner where I believe someone asked him a question and used that word. It might have been me.
Yeah.
And he said, I always have to look this word up.
Yeah,
so even a really scholarly guy like that, it's a weird word. In our work as priests, as Zen monks, who take this up as the very center of our lives, we kind of, I like to imagine that most monks are doing this with the hope of teaching at least one person about this matter, how to live. So different personalities do the teaching means different ways and approaches arise. But also that the students the people who listen to various teachers find a sort of, it's not that they like one more than the other, although that might be part of it, but sort of like the way a particular person phrases the same topic hits them, sticks to them, helps them. And please don't poop on us. But in your life, as a encountering Uchiyama Roshi and other masters, your master was?
His name was Miyaura Shinyu, and he is 2 generations after Uchiyama Roshi. So after Uchiyama Roshi, there was a guy called Watanabe Roshi. He's the one who took the temple from Kyoto. It was located inside Kyoto to the present location in northern Hyogo. And he later went to Italy for almost a decade. And that's when my teacher, whose name is Miyaura, became the 8th abbot in the lineage. So Anta is not super old, it's only 100 years old or so. He was number 8, and then 20 years ago or so I became number 9 in the lineage.
So as you've encountered, your master and your lineage, plus other masters, have you appreciated the different styles of teaching and observed how it works for different people?
Actually, I had a student from America who tried to do that very systematically. He was into Enneagram psychologically and said, this is type, 6, and this is type 7, 8, 9, you are number 5 or whatever. And in this constellation it works, that constellation doesn't work. I was never into it so much that I would say, for this teacher you need this student for transmit. But of course what you say is totally right, that for each student there's a different teacher, and sometimes also you have a succession of teacher, or in the beginning you need maybe a different teacher, then after a decade or 2 decades you appreciate other teaching styles, and not every teacher is the right one for you. So if somebody would ask, or Dogen Zenji tries to give an answer to the question in the Gakudo Yojinchu, where he says you need a true teacher, but then what's the true teacher, the right teacher for me? Well, it depends on you. It's in Japanese you say en, it's an encounter, and just like falling in love. Like sometimes when you meet the right person, you know that's the right person. But there's no real formula that could tell you in advance for what person you need to look for.
Might you have an advice for someone looking at, I deign to compare myself, to put myself in a colleague category with you or with Brad Warner or Shodan Jack Hobner, but there are precious few of us trying to share Zen teaching using the internet with people who look at different teachers. Would you have advice for them as they sort of shop around? And maybe they're finding a master or somebody a monk living in the town where they are.
Yes.
There's something that they might do well to look out for?
Yes. One thing is eventually, like there's the so-called honeymoon period. Usually you find a teacher, you think, this is the guy, he or she I was looking for. And this period can last for 3 months, maybe 3 years, but then you see certain things that maybe you didn't see in the beginning, that you don't appreciate so much, he or she starts to say things that you don't want to hear. And that's when the real student-teacher relationship starts. When the teacher shows you, well, the mirror basically, and when the honeymoon period ends. And the danger is if you have plan B, plan C, you have other teachers.
Yeah.
And you haven't gone through the honeymoon period with those, and you say, oh, maybe I just picked the wrong guy. I asked teacher B, I asked teacher C, and maybe teacher B, teacher C tells you exactly what you wanted to hear, but then there's no learning effect there. You need a teacher that at one point says you exactly the things that you don't want to hear. Like we did an interview on my channel before this, and you said this, the teacher that's yelling every day at you. And if you have another teacher you don't want to be yelled at, and you have another teacher that's not yelling at you, I mean, it can be also good to learn, to know different types of teachers, but at the end of the day, you need a person whom you trust even when he's yelling or if she is yelling at you. Of course, the danger now is, what if that's an abusive relationship that can happen? Like, how do you tell a true teacher from somebody who's just faking it? Like, one thing that's important, there's people who have spent decades in Japan and they are perfect students, but they come back to the West, to America, to Europe, and they turn out not to be super teachers because maybe they're perfect as students. They suck up Japanese then, or maybe they're good, how do you say, teachers, but they're not very, I don't know, Jiko PR, you would say, that they're not good at making themselves known. Finding such a person can be very difficult. While those who are very popular and they're very good at presenting themselves as teachers are usually those who didn't spend so much time practicing themselves. There are exceptions, but there's this typical student guy who's not a big presenter, and then there's the typical presenter of the Dharma who was never really a student. And I personally would say, well, if you're looking for a teacher, especially a teacher that's demanding that you take on the role of the student, then you should also check that this teacher also went through it. And there are a lot of people out there that demand of you that you play the student, but they never lived for years as students, but they demand exactly that. So I would be careful about that. Another thing that's also something that Dogen mentions in the Gakudo Yoshinshu, there's always a certain discrepancy between what you say and what you do, but you should at least aim, teacher should at least aim at practicing what he preaches. There will be always days when he's not doing exactly what he tells you what to do, but at least the aim should be there. He shouldn't be saying, I'm enlightened, so don't care about me.
You go clean, I Netflix.
Exactly, so I wouldn't want a teacher like that. I would want, the teacher I had in Antalya, I mean, I was impressed that he was not a big talker, he was not a big Dharma talk giver or something like that, but he was there with us when we did Zazen. He was there when it was a time for Samu. So I would look for a teacher that practices by his example, who gives an example of.
Thank you.
Yeah. But is it important to have one? Yeah, I would say at the end of the day you should have one whom you trust, of course. Also, I wouldn't, like in Antalya, I never told my students that they must not see other teachers, of course. When they go to Toshoji, they should learn from the teacher at Toshoji. When you go to Eisheji, you should learn from the Roshis at Eisheji. But at the end of the day, I think that there's one person whom you go to for advice. And it should be the person that tells you all these things that you'd rather not want to hear.
I remember in your talk you mentioned a time when you were asked to be the cook in the temple,
Yeah,
the Tenzo,
yeah.
and you made a whole bunch of beginner mistakes
Yes,
with certain ingredients that you didn't
Yeah.
know how to cook,
Yeah.
and you got yelled at for that.
Uh.
And then another time you made another mistake,
Yeah.
and the master said,
Well, I said, but I didn't come to Japan to learn how to cook.
Right.
And then he said, yeah, omae nanka dodomoi. It's not about you. You don't count at all.
Yeah, you don't count at all. When you were yelled at in that moment, like now, of course, your reflection might be different, but in that moment, what was your first reaction?
I felt almost a little bit like betrayed, like the first part of the story, which I also tell. The first time I came to Antaiji, I was 22, and my teacher, my later teacher, would ask me, what did you come for? And I said, I want to learn something about Buddhism. And then he tells, well, we're not a school, you create Antaiji. And I asked him, there's so many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in Japanese Buddhism, who is the one true Buddha here in the main hall in Antaiji? And he said, who cares about the Buddha in the main hall? If you don't become a Buddha here, there's no Buddha to find at Antaiji. And then he says, it's not about you. At first, he puts me in the center.
Yes.
He says, it's all about you. It's all about you. And then it's not about you. What?
Yeah. It just kicks you right out of the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt a little bit betrayed. It's not that it made click right at once. It took me a while to realize these are the two sides of the same coin.
I hope that every monk has that experience, and honestly, I hope that every lay person has that experience in their practice too. I think about Western Zen curious people, particularly lay people. They're not maybe entering in this sort of throw away your whole life into this relationship with master and disciple relationship to study themselves, but they're studying themselves, and they also have to deal with work and problematic or difficult relationships in their daily living lives. And to me, when I reflect on my monastic training, being yelled at perpetually, even now to this day, I can see that the training environment is exactly the same as going to work and getting chewed on or having a difficult relationship with someone. Do you think it's important to encourage lay practitioners to look at their lives as training?
Yes, of course. Like, my teacher died when I was still young. I was 33 at the time. I was actually living in the park here in a tent at the time. I thought I would make up a group here in the big city, and I planned to stay here for at least 2 or 3 years in the tent, being a real homeless Zen monk, like a real Muho Roshi. But then after 6 months, my teacher died in an accident. I was 33, and I came back, and I was eventually installed as the abbot.
How old were you when you were ordained?
25.
Oh.
So I first came to Antaiji at 22. I was formally ordained when I was 25, did 8 years of practice, had Dharma transmission at the time. I thought I would eventually go back to Germany, but I decided before I go back to Germany, as you know, there's very few places in Japan where you can actually practice as a layperson. I thought I would make up such a place here in Osaka. That's where I got to know my later wife. But then my teacher died, I was only 33, and people kept asking me, well, who's your teacher now? Well, officially I'm a transmitted Dharma teacher, so why would I need a teacher? But of course, I mean, learning, you continue to learn for your whole life, so it's a valid question. But my answer is, well, I'm married to my wife, she's younger than me, she's not an enlightened person, if something exists, but still, she's a master for me. My students, I'm their teacher officially, but I learn from my students. When I had kids, you learn from your kids, you learn from the people at work. Of course, these are not all practitioners of the way, so you might then counter-argue, but I want my teacher to be a real Dharma teacher. I don't want to learn from my boss at work, but often these people, of course, they're not perfect, and the same is true for even the Roshis at Egeji.
Yes.
They're not perfect people. You imagine they should be
Yes.
perfect, but they're not perfect. Your wife is not perfect. Your husband is not perfect. Your parents and your children are not perfect. But actually, you don't need a perfect person to show you the mirror.
Yeah.
Even an imperfect person is very good at seeing another person's fault. We are all
Yes.
good at it.
Oh, yes.
So you should, rather than say, of course you can also point the finger here, eshin, I see some bad thing
Yes.
there. I would kind of change that. Or I appreciate that you point out things in me. Even like you being maybe my senior on Sotoshu things, but and that's of course true for people living a lay life. You have a family, you have work, you have the Sangha, and people like, I say that a lot. We talk about the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Everybody appreciates the treasure, the Buddha, Buddha.
Easy, easy.
And the Dharma, of course, Dharma,
yes,
the truth.
yes.
Sangha, yes, but maybe everybody except John, everybody except
That one's
Karen,
a pain.
exactly. Everybody except Karen and John and whoever. But often it's exactly these people that we don't appreciate. So they are the real treasures because they point out things in us. They make us uncomfortable. They put us in question.
Yes.
And that's what we need. That's the teacher often you need.
Yes.
So the Sangha, if you have a Sangha, it's a treasure exactly because of that. They sometimes make you uncomfortable. They yell at you when you don't want to be yelled at.
Yeah.
And at work, the same thing can happen. Your wife or your husband yell at you. And of course, you don't want to be abused, but still, sometimes maybe they have a point there.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah. As everything in our world is sort of, humanity is sort of, like all things breathe, is kind of how I think about it. Humanity has inflated, grown a lot, and will shrink a bit for a while.
Yeah.
Do you have a hope that there is a way that we can, like Sawaki Kodo Roshi, breathe some inspiration into people with our practice?
Yes, I mean, of course the hope is there, but I'm not spending too much, I don't know, thought about what would be a good way to communicate this. I think at all times, like you mentioned in our interview on my channel, Ryokan-san, this famous monk who lived, I don't know, 300, 400 years ago in Japan. One thing that makes him so charismatic is he didn't care at all about if what he did would be remembered by people decades ago. He didn't try to kind of preach the Dharma to the kids he played with.
Yeah.
He wrote poems and stuff, but he didn't look for a publisher. I want my poems to be published and I want people to read this stuff. So I think the best way is to just do what feels the right thing for you to do. And if your practice is genuine, there will probably be a few people that are influenced by that. And if it's not as many as you hoped for, well, Ryokan-san had no way of being able to know that he will be beloved now in the 21st century. So I don't know. No? I don't know. When I came into contact with Zen in the 80s in Germany, it was growing fast. And people would say, well, in the 21st century, Christianity might have died out. It's going to all be Zen. It's going to all be Buddhism. When I go back to Germany now, people that practice are still there, but they're all my generation, maybe even a little bit above. There are some young people, but not so much. And Theravada Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism has become a little bit popular, more popular, but they seem to have similar problems. So even in the West, it's not as popular as it used to be in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And here in Japan, in a way, especially in the countryside, temples are dying out. People can't support themselves. But again, I don't have a good answer to that except, well, do what feels right for you. I mean, I practice Zen because it changed my life. It helps me now. I enjoy sitting here under the blue sky on Sundays with whoever wants to join. And sometimes there's 10 people, which is not a huge number. It's not a huge number, but if there's 10 people that want to join me, that's fine. If there's only 2 or 3 on a cold winter day, that's also fine. Yeah. I'm doing my thing. And maybe people will remember that later. Maybe nobody's going to remember it in a decade or so, but you can only do what you do. Mm. Also, often I'm asked, you're doing a YouTube channel here, I'm doing YouTube. Yeah. What sense does that have? Does it really have a meaning?
Yes, that's exactly where I wanted to go.
It's all digital, so you're kind of entertaining these bored people at 3 a.m. in the morning,
sure.
But what meaning does it have? My answer is that I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do on YouTube. I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy the video with the interview with you right now. And if people enjoy watching that and maybe it helps them, great. Does it replace meeting with a real Sangha? I would say no, it doesn't replace that. So if you have a real Sangha somewhere in your town, go and meet with these real people as well. But sometimes it's hard to find a teacher. Sometimes the teacher maybe doesn't have the time to answer your questions, and Muho has the time. Then you can ask those questions to me. Yeah. But I don't know my viewers kind of one-on-one, so it's not a replacement. The videos that I upload, the videos that you upload, they are not a replacement for a one-on-one student-teacher relationship, but that's also part of teaching the Dharma, manifesting the Dharma in the 21st century.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, naturally, I agree. So nothing contentious there. Yeah, goodness. I love I tend to love spontaneity. It's hard to extract oneself if you spend 30 years of your life cultivating a skill, like Zazen, for example. But as a jazz musician, we give ourselves a set of rules, a structure, and then we play inside that.
Yes.
And so I set a theme and I just go.
Yeah.
As a Zen, becoming a Zen teacher, that's how I feel like there's the most alive Zen teaching is a response to a question. Do you have that experience as well?
Yes. 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 Yeah.
And
like you said in an interview before this, I don't do scripts, and I totally agree with that. I mean, there's people that are good at that, and there's a place for these people, but usually also on YouTube, I mean, scripted videos is boring usually.
Yeah.
It has to be spontaneous, and often a certain amount of imperfection actually improves the video, or I think at least my viewers, they appreciate the imperfection of my videos. And I don't do editing. For one thing, I'm lazy and it costs a lot of time, but also actually it improves the video if it's not edited.
Do I remember correctly? There was one where the camera actually fell over?
A number of times, it was a very long video. I did 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I remember watching your interview with Ite. There were a few beautiful long pauses, which are very. I watched and thought, how Ite?
Yeah.
Well.
Those moments are the precious moments. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I guess with that, with a heart full of gratitude and honor, it's a treat and a pleasure to be able to speak with you and to share you with my audience. And let's be honest, there are only 60-something of you. More would be fine, but that's enough. Really, I hope your viewers enjoy what we discussed, and it's this is such a gift for me. So, and thank you so much.
I thank you. It was an honor. Thank you.
Look in the description down below for links and maybe contentious statements.